The most dangerous seducer in Europe began as a boy everyone was certain would die, a vacant, drooling child who bled and seemed to understand nothing. Venice, April 1725. He was born above a theater to two actors, a glamorous, low-born world. And from the very start, something seemed wrong with him. He barely spoke. His mouth hung open, his gaze was empty. He bled from the nose almost every day, pale and weak. The family whispered that the boy was simple and would not live long. His mother, a rising actress, left to chase the stages of Europe. His father died young, and the strange, sickly boy was mostly left behind. Only one person refused to give up on him, his grandmother, Marzia. She held him, fed him, and searched for anyone who might help. The doctors bled him and shrugged. Nothing worked. The nosebleeds went on, and the boy stayed locked inside his fog. So Marzia did what a desperate Venetian grandmother did in 1734. She turned away from the doctors and went to a witch. One gray morning she bundled the boy up, lifted him into a gondola, and set out across the lagoon to the island of Murano. Behind a crooked door waited an old woman in rags, surrounded by cats, the air thick with smoke and murmured spells. She took the boy, laughed a toothless laugh, and shut him inside a large wooden chest. From the dark he heard chanting, weeping, and strange songs. She burned bitter herbs, rubbed his body with a sweet-smelling ointment, and wrapped him tight. Then she leaned close and whispered, "Tell no one what happens tonight, or you will die." That night, half asleep, the boy saw her. A dazzling woman in a great hooped gown floated down through the wall. She wore a crown, spoke to him gently, and promised he would be well. He never forgot her, and from that night on, slowly, the bleeding faded. The fog began to lift. For the first time in his life, the boy began to think. His grandmother called it the witch's cure. The truth is simpler. A slow child's mind had finally switched on, just as his body outgrew a childhood ailment. But try telling that to a boy who had met a queen from the air. Casanova would half believe in his fairy for the rest of his life. Wonder had woken him, and it never let go. Now that the boy could learn, they sent him away to be schooled, to Padua, boarded cheaply in the house of a slovenly landlady. It was near starvation. Filthy, crawling with vermin, half-fed. His bright new mind was thrown into squalor and misery. Then came his rescue, a young priest and teacher, Dr. Gozzi, who saw the boy's spark and took him into his own home. Now everything changed. Fed, safe, and finally taught, the boy who could not speak devoured every book. Within a year, he was the doctor's top pupil. And in that house lived Gozzi's little sister, Bettina, 13, pretty, quick, and endlessly curious about the strange, clever boy. She combed his hair. She washed his legs. She sat a little too close. And in that innocent, electric attention, something new woke in him, the first stirrings of desire. But Bettina was playing more than one game, with more than one boy. Jealousy, secret notes, doors opening in the night. The whole household began to simmer. Then Bettina collapsed into violent fits. She writhed, she raved, she spoke in strange voices. The verdict was instant. The girl was possessed by a demon. Exorcists arrived. Prayers, relics, and a great solemn circus of holy men, come to wrestle Satan out of a teenage girl. But the boy watched closely and doubted. To him it looked less like a demon and more like heartbreak, hysteria, and a girl in real trouble. The skeptic was born. Then smallpox took her and her beauty with it, and it was Casanova who sat by her bed and nursed her through it. Tenderness, after all the games. The boy everyone had written off was gone. In his place stood someone sharp, charming, hungry, and already reading people better than the priests read their books. He had seen both forces that ruled his century up close, the fairy who cured him and the demon who never existed, wonder and superstition. And he would spend his whole life playing both, all across Europe. Next time, how a teenage abbé talked his way into palaces and got himself thrown out of them. Casanova's story is only beginning.